Alright, today I have a short video. I hope you can see on the screen there what I'm going to be talking about. I got an item that came in, and it came in the most ridiculous box. This was actually hand delivered to the door. This is in a box, a large box. One photograph was in this gigantic box here. Now I do have a nice box to ship some books or anything I want to throw in there, stacks of photographs. So essentially I got I would say a free box out of it, but I got a good box out of it. The price of it was about $18.50, $5 for shipping, but it got here in very good and quick time here, so happy about that one. I can't show you everything on this one, as I mentioned before. I can't show you everything here. I have it blocked off with a piece of paper here, but this is Danielle von Zerneck, who plays a high school student, looking very concerned there. This is from season 17, and this is episode 1 of season 17 from 1988. It was a very difficult one to research and find, and I finally found one. There's another copy that's going to be about $30, so 18 is a lot better than 30. There's nothing on the back. Some of them have stuff on the back, but this one really doesn't have any press markings or anything. But more than likely, it's an original copy, I would say a time period specific copy, and not like a modern copy. There's only one underlining of the Danielle von Zerneck's name there, so that was probably used during publication to highlight that particular person's name. And then what else do I want to say about this photograph here? So, as I mentioned, that this is from 1988, and if we look up 1988 on my list here, I have absolutely zero. If I can get to it here. I have absolutely zero on my list here. Zero from there. So there's 7 episodes for season 17, 1988, 89. And then there's, of course, 87, 88. Somebody had mentioned it's like hockey and basketball. Very confusing how that works out there. You know, it's kind of confusing there. And as of my list here, I had 0 from 88, 89, 0 from 89, 90, and 0 from 1990-91. One of the Historic Images store was having 40% off for Black Fridays type thing, or Veterans Day or something like that, and I found nothing in that store. Then I went to the Historic Images proper, and there's probably at least 50, but they're not in all after school special listings. And again, they were going to cost me $20 plus $5 for shipping, and sometimes they do quantity or whatever, but again, it's going to cost a crazy fortune to get those, you know, unless I really have to have them. You know, so I'm going to be looking for more on those on the radar there. And again, this background here is from the later after school specials intro. It's really hard to find. I'll move the camera a little bit here. It's really hard to find the intros, because a lot of people have uploaded episodes of said after school specials, and some of them have copyright claim, or I mean what do you call it? It's difficult with copyrights, and also there's a lot of watermarks on some of the videos that people have uploaded. So, and those are the only videos of those have been uploaded, 1, 2, or 3. And then also they it's just a mess of what you can watch and what you can't watch. And then the DVDs here, I couldn't find my time-specific one. This is the 1976-77. This is not the complete disc or set or whatever. This is only a fraction of it. You know, so if you got like 10 episodes per season, they only give you 2 or 3. So you're missing 7 or 8 episodes. It's very frustrating not to be able to watch one after the other. You know, watch them all in chronological order. Now, this puts me at, if I get back to my crazy heavy binder now, this puts me at, and I had marked it somewhere on here, if I can get to it. I wanted to say that I had 100 and, get to the last page here. I thought I had marked it down here. I'm not seeing it. Okay. I had 107 listed here, so then I said, okay, I get down to 106. but one of these on the earlier seasons I'd accidentally colored in the wrong number, and I hadn't noticed that, and then I finally got some white out and fixed it, and so I'm still at 107. That puts me at like $25 if I buy them all individually per, and then I just checked if I buy them all individually at different times. Then I checked eBay to see what was in the completed listings, and there was only one after school special in the completed listings that I can find it here. I wanted to go back here to the completed listings here. I guess I don't have it here. Anyway, I don't have it here, but one 7x9/8x10 has disappeared. And then there was one that was like somebody's making copies from a direct source of some kind, or individual photographs, so they're all different. Some guy in Australia or overseas, and one of those sold, but only one I could find listed on the after school special listings there. And then again, most of these are listed under actor, they're listed under the date or title of the movie, the episode sort of thing, and they're just impossible to find. Super impossible to find. But again, if you look at all the YouTube videos, type in after school specials. In fact, I had this open here. This is the pinballs here. I think that's one with Christy McNichol. Again, somebody has put that, a year ago. Now the pinballs, I believe, is on the DVD, if I'm not mistaken here. If I can find it here. I'm not sure which one this is here. Maybe it's not on the DVD, but again, some of these you do not want to upload the whole thing, because again, some of these things will be uploaded for 2, 3, 4, 5, and 15 years, and people won't notice, and all of a sudden it's gone. And you notice a lot of these comments turned off, learn more. So there's a reason why they turn off comments. Maybe they can leave it on there without comments. A lot of times people, during the whole YouTube debacle a long time ago, people have abandoned their channels and just uploaded stuff many years ago, and YouTube basically just shut the comments off for them, so that because people again did not update their channels. So it's not their choice necessarily. It's just they're not around to basically say, hey, or they just left it as is. But again, why would I need to? Most people say, oh, I remember this and I watched it on this channel and did this and this and this and this, and you don't get to see that. Again, some people have comments left off because a lot of people just leave gross stuff in the comment sections there, and there's just an unfortunate resurgence of all of that again, for anything. As again, I'm trying to not participate in all of and it's really hard to not participate in the discussions between the record store day hate, and then all of the baseball card hate right now with all the different companies. These companies don't have your interest in mind, they have theirs. And unfortunately, they have a product, and if you just magically like it, then you're just going to spend as much money as you can. Again, I have stated many times before, this was a doable collection, and now is not a doable collection. But the only reason, and the only reason that I grabbed this photograph is because I had totally forgotten about it. Looked at it a number of times weeks ago just to see what because it kept on coming up in my searches, and guess what happened? The seller just gave me like a generic thing, said, would you like to have it for X amount of dollars? Thought about it, it almost expired, and then I said, yes, I'll take it, and I bought it and paid for it, not worry about it. And it's one of the most difficult subject ones there's lots of other ones that are very close to it, but it's one of those that you don't want to think about, and you want to have it done with and get it out of the way, and then you can work on all the fun ones. The fun ones are the lighthearted ones, which are, sometimes very hard to come by. And then some of the, like I said, this is one of the more creepier ones. I say creepy, but just, and again, That 70s shows poked fun at the after-school specials. A lot of videos out there, and people are poke fun at this sort of thing, but they were really ridiculously serious. It's not good to poke fun at serious subjects, It just really isn't, because then it gets all trivialized. Some of these were lighthearted and they had some, fun endings, but many of these did not have a happy ending. It was like I can't remember what I was watching. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is a dark episode. The very first episode of this particular TV show and it was all comedy until it wasn't. It was like, what in the heck did I just watch? I can't remember, it was MASH or something like that. Like, man, that is a terrible episode, regardless of what I was like, man, this did not put me in a good mood. And of course, I watch most of my TV and movies when I go to bed. And I was like, oh man, now I gotta go. And so I throw something lighthearted in there. It's like, oh, great, you know. But again, I wanted to, you know, if you didn't know, I got a couple of photographs of the after-school specials after I had picked out some from the weekend specials. But the weekend specials were really hard to find, but then I started finding after-school specials, and I want to learn more about it, why it was such a cult classic and why it was so sought after. And then again, I put a list together, and I said, hey, this is not too bad. This is relatively feasible. I said, I don't like spending $10 or $15 on photographs, but sometimes it just has to be done. And what I was trying to do was use this as a way to get away from baseball card, just collecting random baseball cards that I have no reason to collect. This morning, I have been going through this room adjacent to this one here on the right-hand side. That one you couldn't even walk into, just clothes and stuff and everything that were under the sun. I was just crazy finding just insane bags of TTM stuff. These are all letters that people have given me, envelopes to people, and things that came in TTMs as bonus items, stuff and YouTube gave me, and that's only a fraction of it. Just a tiny fraction of it. And every year I go through that and parcel out a few more things and a few more things, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And I went through all the toys in that room, virtually all the toys, have another box of toys going out, and then I tried to put them all back in the box, and they do not fit. It just absolutely, and I just took two, boxes of toys out to storage. Where does it end? It really doesn't. That's why I really enjoy this collection, because this collection is only this. So if I have to pay up for it, it's worth it. Worth it to pay up for that. I have not found one of these photographs in my travels. Not one. All of these are all internet purchases, every single one. Because it's modern stuff from the 70s to the early 2000s, that doesn't mean it's easy to find. It's just mixed in everybody's everything collection. People load up every photograph that they have on the planet, and then they add more when photographs get purchased. So I need to go back through some of the vendors I bought things from before and see if I can kind of eke out a few more. My goal was to get at least 3 more before the end, 2 or 3, so I got 1 there and then maybe 2 more to finish out the year. We'll see. But again, unless there's some crazy big Black Friday 75% off sale, I'm not going to be purchasing very much. So that is today's collection, the review, the photograph. You can look up Danielle Zernick and see what she did here. And then you can look up 1988 after school specials and figure out what that one is. Try to think of what you were doing in 1988, what you were watching in 1988. And if you see any of the commercials on YouTube, think of Ernie Anderson. He did not announce all these, but Ernie Anderson was the most famous. And it's very hard-hitting, sometimes very startling and jarring, these announcers. Tonight on ABC, sort of thing like that. It's like, Wednesday, 11 p.m. or something like that. Oh my gosh, crazy. So it's attention grabbers. It's like, my gosh, just shocked you into listening. We don't have that so much anymore. So the 80s, if you lived through it, the good times and the bad times is kind of, and again, this is just a picture that I needed on my road to finishing my 106 or 7 more photographs to get, and thank you for watching.